This is Karen Richards, and I am the CEO founder of Care Health Connections. And joining me today is Julie Witt with AFLAC. Hi, Julie.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm excited that you are here because ongoing, as promised, I'm trying to collect the best benefit resources I can to bring to all of you. We always need the support, right, for our businesses, but especially during this time with the COVID-19 stuff going on, everyone's a little more confused, I'm going to say. The SBA is pushing out new stuff every day. The government's pushing out new stuff every day. So I wanted to make sure that I'm bringing you people that I know are staying on top of it. Julie's one of those people. She and I have been partnering for a while now to help bring wonderful employee benefits to people. So she's going to be explaining a few things going on today for us. She and I met yesterday. I took lots of notes. She was already in a training this morning. I'm so impressed, Julie. She's already sat through a training this morning and updated even more about what we talked about yesterday. So first, Julie, I'm going to have you just share a little bit about, AFLAC, the company, what it is, what you do. Even though you are here in Middle Tennessee, where I am, I know that you cover many states and can cover many regions. And then if you want to, just go straight into a little bit about the stimulus, paycheck protection, and the information that you've been training on.
Great. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes. So my name is Julie Witt, and I live here in Central Tennessee. I've lived here for about 3 years. I used to live in Kentucky. I've been with AFLAC for over 5 years now, and really am impressed with the company, especially within this last month. It's unbelievable how many solutions and thinking outside the box and taking care of both us as the employees plus all of our clients and policyholders that I'm seeing happening every single day. So that's a really cool thing, and it's a great company to be a part of. AFLAC's been around for 65 years. Our main bread and butter is our supplemental policies that we can offer to businesses, both large and small, and their employees. And that is something that we're really proud of, and that we've been able to help a lot of people and businesses provide for their employees over the last 65 years. Now, specifically, we've been trying to stay on top of all of the changes that are happening recently with the stimulus packages that are being put out by the government and by different states, and all that's changing. I can't even stay on top of all of it, but I'm trying. So, the government has put out $350 billion to specifically help small businesses, and that is coming in the form of paycheck protection, grants that do not have to be paid back as long as they can prove that they're using those for their employees and for their business operating expenses, and a myriad of other things. And so we are trying to connect with businesses, business owners, and help them figure out how to best take advantage of all the resources that are there. So that's a really exciting thing to be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know one of the reasons I wanted to partner with you is because I know your company takes great care of you, and that's what we do, is help people take great care of their employees. So if they're using, I know the PPP, I'm reading more articles. I know you got training. I got it up on my LinkedIn here that the PPP loans are different from the disaster loans. But my understanding right now, although like you said, it's changing every day, but my understanding is if it's used for employee benefits / payroll, that is what they can apply for forgiveness. Like they have to use it in that first 8 weeks for mortgage, rent, but when you create a benefits plan, typically that is payroll expense. Is that kind of how you're reading that?
Yes, that's right. That's what I'm understanding to be the case at this point. That as long as it's being used as employee expenses, then it is one of those many things that can be submitted for forgiveness.
Right.
Which is an amazing thing.
Right. And so they're saying, you have to maintain 75% of your employees. And you guys, what I'm thinking in my brain as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is that instead of laying off your employees, you use this stimulus money to not only keep your employees, but at a time where you're making more cutbacks, when you put things into their benefits package, typically that's a pre-taxed item anyway. You know, I know like
Mhm.
my husband's benefits, he's a teacher. So, you know, like his health insurance comes out, that comes out pre-taxes. So if this is a benefit, it would come out pre-tax, correct?
Everything except disability insurance. So
Okay.
disability insurance, we always encourage our employers to deduct that on a post-tax basis, because when the policyholder goes to use that policy and to collect their benefit from it, at that point, since they've already paid for it or it's been paid for with after-tax dollars, then they get the full benefit amount. They do not have to take taxes out of it at that point because they've already been taxed on that money once. So all of the other policies that we have and the other types of protection that we offer, yes, we encourage everyone to deduct those on a pre-tax basis, but disability and life insurance, if people are interested in that, are both after-tax deductions for that reason.
Okay, wonderful. So that brings me to something you said earlier, that AFLAC's strategizing, they're getting out of the box, they're looking for solutions constantly. And one of them you guys came up with is this new TeleMed program, which
Mhm.
I just had my specialist. I see doctors at Vandy. Yes, I'm a healthy person, but for prevention people, my doctors just called me today because it was time for my annual checkups. Those of you that follow my Karen Richards Health page know that I have a diagnosis of MS. And they called me and they were like, hey, can we switch to TeleMed? And I was like, absolutely. So that's something you guys are offering now as partnerships. So it's that, if I understand right, what you told me is that if people want to add that as a benefit for their employees, say they're stuck at home right now to work, but their kid has maybe a snotty nose and a sore ear, they could add that as protection. They wouldn't have to take their child out right now in all this.
Exactly. Yes. So across the board, everything I'm seeing and hearing and reading is that, doctors, health professionals, everyone is encouraging people to stay home as much as possible. So a very, very, very logical step in that process, and something that is going to be better for everyone for their health and safety, is to limit the amount of time that you're going anywhere, especially doctor's offices, because those are probably going to be the places where there are going to be the most congregating amounts of sick people. So we want to keep everyone as safe as possible. And one of the ways that we're doing that is offering our TeleMed partnerships to employers. If they contract with us, then they can have access to that service at 100% no charge to them or their employees. There is a small fee if you use the service per employee, kind of like a copay, but it's very minimal. And yes, they could use it for themselves, their spouse, their children. They can use it, if they start showing symptoms of the virus, possibly, to kind of get on the phone with someone and talk to someone and have a video and explain their symptoms, and really kind of decide, okay, do I need to move this to the next level? Do I need to go get testing? Whatever the next step is, without ever leaving their house. So that's a huge benefit that I'm really excited about, and I'm seeing lots and lots of interest in, and it's something amazing that an employer can offer their employees at no cost. So that's really exciting.
That is super exciting. So I just want to think about this. So if someone is a small business owner and maybe they don't offer major medical, they could still offer this TeleMed as a benefit to their employees. Is that right?
Yes, right. Absolutely.
Fantastic. I love that. Okay, you guys, small business owners, I hope you're listening. I really hope you guys are listening, because there's so many benefits we can give to our employees. And I think when people think employee benefits, they think of those major medical things that are really high expense, instead of some of these smaller things that you can invest in that really truly are what would be the first steps that people would be taking anyway. And so they, maybe they don't need to go pay out of pocket to pay $300 to walk in the ER for a strep test, when they could get on with a medical professional on TeleMed for free because their company has partnered with you guys, and that doctor would be able to call in a prescription for them.
Right. And that's the thing, is that, I think a lot of times, because people haven't been sort of forced to experiment with these things, they don't understand that, like, when you call in, you're talking to real doctors or physician assistants, people that can, monitor your symptoms, ask you a bunch of questions, and then absolutely call you in a prescription, just like if you were in the office. So that's crazy. I mean, it just makes so much sense to me.
Absolutely. Especially in this time where everything's gone tele everything. Like, here we are doing
Right.
a virtual conversation. We're miles apart, but you know, I have clients in other states. I know you have lots of clients in other states. So I love that
Hmm.
you guys are offering this service. I really hope that small business owners, I will be putting Julie's information here after the fact, and editing the title. And it'll be, if you're watching on YouTube later, it'll be down in the description that you can contact Julie and get set up for that TeleMed, because that is an amazing benefit that really we all need. I don't think right now, I think anytime, you know, I think when my kids are sick
Oh
at
yeah.
midnight or 1 a.m. and my husband and I sit there and debate, like, we have to take them to the ER if we want to go somewhere because pediatrician's closed, right? So
Right.
it'd be taken
Right.
somewhere anyway. In TeleMed, you can usually get someone. So that's awesome. Okay, the last thing we were going to cover is, you know, really you guys' bread and butter is the policies. And I know you guys have a great disability hospital policy. Now, whether people already
Hmm.
have that in place or not, I know you said you were able to expedite that right now. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Right. Yes, I would love to. I am getting overrun with phone calls and emails and everything under the sun, specifically asking about those two policies. Now, we have a wide range of policies. You know, our cancer policy is probably what made us the most famous, because we had one when no one else did. And now we've had many hundreds of thousands of people that have utilized that policy and been able to stay afloat because of it, and get treatment and coverage when they were in a really bad place. But right now, with what we're currently dealing with, um, our short-term disability is like life-changing, and our hospital policy. So we have a policy that's not major medical, but it's a supplemental policy that can either supplement a major medical plan you already have, or you don't even have to have a major medical plan in order to qualify for this policy. So the way it works, there's a lot of riders and different things. You can customize it a lot to whatever your specific circumstance is. But one of the best things about it, in my opinion, and the basic bottom bones of it is, if you have that policy, if you're admitted to the hospital for any reason, then you immediately get $2,000. And all of our benefits are filed through our smart claim system. So it processes, it's electronic, it's really fast. You can get the app on your phone. It's very easy to use. And they'll direct deposit the money directly into your account as soon as it's processed, which, until all of this happened, was 24 hours. If you filed it on one business day. Things are taking a little bit longer now just because of the massive amounts of claims and things going on at this time, but it's still incredibly short, much faster than you'll typically see money from a major medical policy. And it comes directly to you. So then you can use those benefits for whatever may be facing you at that time. You know, if you need to use those benefits to buy your groceries, you absolutely can. You know, if you need to use them for whatever you need, you absolutely can. And then, of course, short-term disability is pretty self-explanatory. You know, if you end up with a diagnosis, or if you get hurt off the job, if you have to have a surgery that you weren't expecting, or that you were expecting, either way, as long as it's not a pre-existing condition, then it can be covered for that policy for your time off of work. And those policies can range from anywhere between a 3-month policy all the way up to 24 months long, depending on, you know, what your circumstances and what you're looking for.
Well, I especially wanted to ask, and because I know we had this discussion, I want to clarify for people on short-term disability. If you're
Mm-hmm.
watching this right now, it's highly likely you are working from home. You know, that's why a lot of people are interested right now, because they are working from home. And I know I called my insurance agent yesterday just to ask those questions, like, hey, my office is now at my house. I carry a large liability policy, but I'm not at my brick and mortar building. So I'm not taking
Mm-hmm.
clients in my home. I'm doing everything virtually. However, what happens now if I go outside and I, you know, just hurt myself, even though is this my home? Is this my office? And he's like, that's
Right.
not work insurance, Karen. But
Right.
that is short-term disability. If I'm out there and I break my leg, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, something that causes short-term disability, I mean, that wouldn't keep me from doing telemedicine, I guess, or keep me from doing virtual things. It might for a week or so, but you know, if I hurt myself and it's not an
Mm-hmm.
on-the-job claim, because as you know, explained, that's obviously something your employer needs to take care of if you're hurt on the job. But outside the job, would fall under this disability policy.
Right. Yeah. Like, let's say, I mean, I feel like, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm taking like 6 walks a day with my kids.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Walking the dog a
Just
lot
to,
around here.
yeah. Yeah. Just to get out of the house and have some change of scenery and get some fresh air and all of those things. So yeah, I mean, if your kid runs into you with their bicycle, or, you know, whatever crazy thing happens, or you're mowing your yard and, you know, something crazy happens, or doing some of those around the house jobs that you never have time to do normally.
Right.
I
Up
see
on
a
the
ton of
ladder.
people.
I'm seeing all kinds of people
Yeah.
on ladders. They're all at Lowe's getting their
Yeah.
supplies.
I know, cleaning out their gutters and doing all these honey-do lists and all of these things. There's a lot more opportunity to have those kinds of injuries. So people, I really feel like, need to be thinking about that kind of a thing, not just, hey, are we going to get the virus or not? And what are we going to do then? Because I hope no one that I know or that sees this is ever going to have to be hospitalized, you know, but it's a real possibility it might happen. But there's other things that can happen during this time too. And we want to make sure people have the ultimate protection possible. And along those lines too, I wanted to make sure we talked about the fact that, you know, we do have this virtual call center now available with AFLAC. So even if it's an account that 100% of their employees are working from home now, there's no way to do a traditional enrollment, you know, where we would bring everyone together and do a presentation. And, you know, we're all having to adjust things now. That we have, AFLAC has given us huge amounts of resources and abilities to work with that, no matter what that looks like. So we can have a virtual call center. We can have people look at things on their computer. We can set them up for a question and answer time over the phone via FaceTime. We can do phone enrollments in the policies where we can just send the documents directly to their phone or their computer, and they can sign them digitally and never have to be in person at all with anybody for any of it. So there's a huge amounts of resources available to make that happen and to still be able to provide protection for their employees and themselves, and never have to come out of their house if they don't want to or need to.
Right. So one last question. So if somebody is an individual, can they purchase AFLAC policies as an individual, or do they have to go through an employer?
Very good question. We have a few policies that can be purchased as on an individual basis. Those policies are great. Mostly it's our life insurance, our cancer coverage, and our accident coverage. The other ones that we have discussed, as in disability, hospital coverage, those sorts of things, you do have to be part of a group. Now, the good news is AFLAC has recently changed their guidelines of what a group looks like. And so in order to be a group, you only have to have 3 people. So if that's a business owner and their wife that works at the business with them, and, you know, someone else that participates in the business on some level, and they are an employee of theirs, that's enough people that you can make a group out of that. So most of the time when I'm contacted by people, we can figure out a way to think creatively and get them set up as a group. And that way they can have access to all of the policies available, plus have them at the payroll rates, which are about 30% less than the direct rates. So I highly encourage someone, if they're not sure if they can figure out a way to make that work, you know, or they're like, oh my goodness, I can't qualify for any of this because I'm just, you know, in business for myself, to reach out to me. And let's can ask some more specific questions and see if I can figure out a way to help them get that coverage that they need. Awesome.
And that makes me think of one more. After I said the last question, of course, I thought of one more. I think one of the cool things to remember, you guys, if I'm correct on this, is that if they are set up, let's say with all the changes going on right now, and their employer offers them AFLAC, is it possible to keep carrying that policy with them when they go to somewhere else? I mean, as long as they're they keep paying, don't they have the option to keep that, like, accident insurance or hospital insurance on their own?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a really, really great clarification, because there's so many great benefits about that, because what happens is all of our policies are 100% portable, which means, you know, even though they sign up with them through a group like I was just speaking about, so they can get everything accessible and have payroll rates. If they ever leave that company, even if they move somewhere else that doesn't offer AFLAC, they can absolutely keep their policy with the exact same coverage and the exact same rate. So nothing changes except how it's paid for. which is really great, because that way, you know, if they have, you know, already fulfilled their waiting periods, or some of our policies have building benefits where, like, the longer you have the policy, the more your benefit grows, or those kinds of things, you wouldn't lose any of that, and you wouldn't have any lapse of coverage or anything. So that's really great, because major medical, as we know, is tied to your employer. So if you leave a job, you're stuck with either having nothing or COBRA, which is crazy expensive, and then you have to start all over when you go work somewhere else or whatever. So our policies are not that way, and I think that's awesome, and it's one of the best benefits that I can think of that AFLAC offers.
Wonderful. This has been such great information, you guys. So thank you so much, Julie. As I said, I'll put all Julie's contact information in either the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or I'll add it here on the Facebook Live. But thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Yes, I've had a great time.
All right.